you, Gabriel, for your time.
Good. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, this is like a mini interview to Gabriel Duque. Okay, we will start with the first question.
Sure.
What can you tell us about your background and what led you to pursue a career in architecture?
Sure. Okay. I'm Colombian. I was born and raised in Colombia. I did my uni in Colombia. Fun fact, I actually started studying medicine, not architecture. When I was studying medicine, I realized that it wasn't my thing. And that then I had to think about what I really wanted to do. And I thought I wanted a career in something creative. Not quite an artist or a painter, but something creative. And I was sort of interested in the balance of architecture between technicality and creativity. And I gave it a go, and I haven't looked back since. It's been a great roller coaster ride.
And why did you choose first medicine?
With growing up from school, I just I enjoyed sort of science, biology kind of subjects, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I thought, okay, I sort of enjoy that. My marks are not too bad, so I'll give it a go, without really knowing what the career was going to be about, more what I've enjoyed in the past.
Yeah, we're pretty young when we need to decide what to do for the rest of our life.
Yeah,
I believe
most of the times we don't have a clue. Like I have a daughter now; she's about to finish school, and I really encourage her to take some time off after school to live life a little bit and see what she may be interested in, because school is such a bubble.
Yeah.
You're such in a bubble, and you don't really know what the world is about. So yeah, I think it's a tricky decision to make.
Yeah. Now you are the director of Plus Architecture in Sydney. What was the biggest challenge you faced to get to this position, and how you overcame it?
I think when I look back, there's obviously a few things. I think the first thing is the part of the career where I see it as growing within the framework of what purely an architect does. And that's looking after projects, designing, working out things. That was probably the longest lead time to progress in the career. I would say probably 15 years. And that was, first of all, being an alien person in Australia, getting used to the foreign language, being comfortable in a foreign language to a point where it's no longer something I need to think about, but really being able to switch from Spanish to English without having to think that I'm speaking a different language. So communication, very important. Once the communication is sorted, I think your skills and the things that you learn that you need do kick in, and you're really good at those things, because I have to say that as South Americans, at least, many immigrants. I come from a South American background. We are really well educated, and we have very strong foundation, technical and creative, in architecture. I know that from Colombia, from Chile, from Argentina, from different countries. Many friends that come here, I can see that. So really, it's being able to communicate in a confident way. And then secondly, it's how to run a business. We don't know how to run a business. No one tells us how to run a business. So that was the trickiest bit. Getting registered in Australia helped me a lot understand how to run a business in this country and what I needed to be aware of. But from the theory to your practice is a very different thing. You have to get out in the world and look for jobs and put yourself out there and be very confident. So I think that was the biggest hurdle, doing the things that I wasn't trained for, which is being a business person.
Which path did you choose for registration? Did you do it through like a skills assessment? You did a master's degree here.
So I did 5 years of uni in Colombia. I came here to study, but I did a master's in sustainable development.
Okay.
So it's not like a master's in architecture.
Yes.
I only got registered like 4 or 5 years ago, and I did it as an experienced practitioner pathway.
Yeah.
So that's the way I did it. It worked out fine. I think it's a nice way to do it. You're a lot more confident after you've been working so many years in doing what you do. But you really find yourself against what everyone finds themselves against, and it's understanding legality, admin things about the career that it's.
And did you take any of the courses available, like Pals or Park, or you just did it with your own experience?
I did it with my own experience, but I spent a long time studying.
Okay.
So I gathered from the AIA, acumen, that sort of literature. I had friends who had done courses to sort of lend me their notes of what they'd done before. So I just read and read and reread things from different sources. And I think it worked. It worked well, at least. The experience practitioner pathway is a little bit different to the normal one in that you can talk yourself through many of the questions. There are some things that are black and white around, say, for instance, how do you validate a claim from a builder when you're doing a project? Those are black and white, and those you can learn by reading stuff. But there are other things that are around experience, and you can talk yourself through it because it's an interview at the end of the day when you do. And that's the way they do it through an interview. So I think if you're confident in your communication, if you feel you have had a good experience, that pathway is a pretty good one. I never validated my degree here to be able to register in the normal pathway.
Yeah.
And looking into things, it seemed easier at the end of the day to the experienced practitioner because I'd already been practicing for more than 10 years in Australia. So it took me a while. It took me like maybe 2 years to get my portfolio together. And, you're busy working and you don't know what you need to do. How do I do this?
And family.
So it took time, but I wasn't in a rush. I took my time. Now it's done, and now it seems like a long thing.
But even like you having like that much experience and having worked in the industry for so long, you still felt that process was useful. And what I felt in my perspective was that I could sort of put the puzzle together. Like I have all the pieces scattered, and then that process was the one that consolidating my knowledge and feeling more confident moving forward. Do you feel like that was your case? Like you could sort of
look. I think in my case it did give me a deeper understanding of what the role of an architect is in the bigger picture of the construction industry. It explained why architects are so important in this country, and it explains what I was really working on and what it meant in legal terms. So it does tell you how you fit within a builder, engineers, a developer, and all of these things, and how important your role is. So I felt that it was really empowering. It doesn't tell you how to be a better designer. It doesn't tell you how to be a better architect. It tells you how to fit in the industry, and it empowers you to lead processes.
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite at the time I thought, what am I doing this? But after I did it, and when I face projects and I look at teams and how we get together, I understand my role and the role of my team of architects a lot clearer after being registered.
Yeah.
And I can call myself an architect, which is always very satisfying.
And I think, that's a common thing, like, because it feels like our identity gets a little bit like in the limbo when we move. Because at least in Chile, you study architecture and then you finish and then you're an architect. And then, yes, you need to do like a license thing to sign off plans, to submit to council, but you don't, like, the title is not protected by law like here. So I think in the beginning it's like shocking to think, oh, so I'm not an architect. Although, and especially in Latin America, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel that we are very defined by our professions. So, I don't know, the label is there from almost the day that you're born. you need to be like this or that. And even like in parties, I was introduced as, she's Danny, she's an architect. Like, okay, I'm at a party, like it's a birthday party. Like, well, what has it been? Like, I'm an architect. So you feel that, that also is part of how a process to grow, to feel that you're not only an architect, that you are more than that.
You mean like in
like the identity, our identity, because we are so defined by our professions in Latin America, and then here it's like no one really cares what we do for work.
Yeah, look, I see that probably from a different perspective. I'd say, yes, in Latin America, we all finish school and we all go straight to uni. If you don't go to uni, you're hindered to progress in life. Obviously, here is not the case. Yeah, you can not do uni at all and have a great life. But I do feel that the title of architect in a place like, say, Australia or Commonwealth countries or well-developed countries is a little bit of an honor in some ways, because it does mean that you're a master of certain things, and in the process of putting buildings together, often the architects are called the principal design consultants, right? And that means that what we do is that we are sort of directing an orchestra of many players, many masters. And if you're not an architect, you simply cannot do that because you're not allowed to do that. So I do feel that architecture in Australia is quite defined as a career. I'm not sure if you've seen how in New South Wales they tried to change the bill of architects. And if you go to LinkedIn or to any of the chats of the profession, there's uproar, particularly from the people who have been in the industry for a while, and how the title of architect is now seemingly easier to achieve than it was if the bill is not processed. Like you only need to get a degree in a certain level of architecture, or a master of architecture, and then call yourself an architect. I think that in the past has not been the case, and I think it's something that people hold a flag and say, I'm an architect, and I feel it like that. I feel proud to call myself an architect. So I don't think it defines us here as our career, but as what we do as professionals. It's a little bit of a different thing. Like in Latin America, you're an architect, you're an engineer, you're an industrial engineer, and that defines you as a professional. So at least in Colombia, yes, you are a professional, and that defines you compared to people who haven't been to uni. Here, I think it's a little bit beyond that, because you finish uni, you are a graduate of architecture, you're not an architect, and then you need to become an architect. And it takes a little bit more than just going to uni.
Yeah.
So in my mind, there's a lot of pride and achievement in being able to call yourself an architect.
And a great responsibility behind the title.
Yes. And you say it's a protected profession. It is. But in my mind, it's we are the gatekeepers of protecting protecting clients.
Yeah.
And we are riddled with liability just to protect clients. So not anyone can call themselves an architect, because if you're an architect, you are liable to protect your clients from the very convoluted process that is putting together a building.
Yeah.
So it comes with a lot of social responsibility and physical, financial responsibility to become an architect. You're doing a house and you make a mistake, and you're potentially in a tricky position because you made mistakes. So it comes with a lot of compromise, I suppose.
Yeah, especially because especially housing is like the biggest investment of family. So then you are playing with that, like the biggest investment of a family. So I think there's a great responsibility behind our title.
Yeah, 100%.
So the last question is, what are the key lessons that you have learned along the way that could help other immigrant architects to build their career in Australia? So from your perspective.
From my perspective, I think I mentioned something around it already. It's around confidence and being able to communicate. So really, from an immigrant perspective, just work really hard in how you communicate, and just keep working on it, and make sure that English becomes second nature to you. Secondly is I just said it, it's like an oxymoron, but don't think yourself as an outsider, as an immigrant, because Australia is a country of immigrants.
Yeah.
Like everyone is an immigrant here. My office, we're 50 staff, and we have born in Australia is probably a handful of people. Most of us are immigrants. So we're all in a level playing field. Be confident that I talk again about South American education, that we come from a place that we're really, the level of education that we come from is pretty high. And we have great skills to continue going, to progress. I think those are the most important things: self-confidence, communication, and not think of yourself as being in a perfect position to achieve success. The playing field is leveled when you get here. So always be confident about that, not that you are here as a second-tier person. You're not. You're equally as capable as anyone who's out there in the market.
That's a great point of view, and I'm sure that will be very useful for the architects from Latin America and from other countries pursuing a career in Australia. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, Daniela.